What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Crane Kicks Lex podcast. We are coming fresh off of a playoff win, and the hype is just like I feel like my body has been vibrating ever since that night with just energy. Like I feel like a human conductor. Um, and I just don't think it's gonna leave me until Saturday. And then it won't leave me because we're gonna win it all. And I'll just forever be energized. Um, Man, we got to talk about that. We'll get into it here in a second. We'll chat about the win. We'll chat about what's coming with this matchup with Carolina in under a week at this point. So it's coming quicker than we think. And then we'll also talk about red cards and, eventually getting there for the men's side, right? We'll eventually get there. It's just they don't want to try and distract from the women's shine right now. And they're going to fire up as soon as they win the trophy and be like, yeah, we're going to do it too. Right? Maybe. Yes, right. Jessica, Dylan, how you guys doing?
I'm doing great. I mean,
Good.
I had a hard time sleeping on Saturday night because
Yeah,
I was just so amped, you know.
it's true.
Agreed.
Yeah. I had so many people texting me being like, hey, we saw you on TV losing your mind.
Good.
I'm like, oh, yeah,
Good.
well, I do indeed be losing my mind whenever my
Yeah.
team is winning playoff games. So it does not happen often for any of my teams. So the one that's like here and we are clearly very invested in, yeah, I'm losing my mind. Like
In fact, it
it's
was
on.
the first time it's ever happened.
Yes, first time ever. Oh my gosh, we got to just jump into this. I can't
Yeah,
do
we,
like
we
the
can't.
like, hey, what type of ice cream, Dylan? Doesn't even matter,
No.
Dylan. We'll get to that later. It does
Oh,
matter. We
Doesn't
actually
matter
care
what
very
else
much.
you've done
wait,
this
hold on.
weekend.
We care very much.
Champion chip cookie dough.
Cookie dough.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, that's fire. That's fire. Okay. Or moose tracks, but horse tracks.
All
Ah.
right.
Yeah. You can do that,
Ancient
man.
championship horse
Color
track.
color it green. Put some dye in that. Color green.
Mint.
That'd be fire. Hey, so this matchup, we got to just we dive all the way in. Okay, so we talked about how for us we felt like this was probably the ideal matchup, us against Dallas. Not that we're worried about the other squads, but you know, Dallas and us, we've had those back and forth moments, but it really did feel like okay, out of the three, if you had to handpick one, Dallas felt nice and ready for the win for us, right? Like
Mhm.
at least that's how we felt before the match, and turns out to be true. We got that. We got the dub. First playoff win in Lexington Sporting Club history. It's here. It's ours, and we have one more to go. Now this match, it was a pretty good match, honestly. Aside from the refing was a little, it was something. It was something, but hey, like aside from that, it was a good match. Dallas, you could tell, came with a plan. They pretty much tried to just keep like a really tight line and formation the whole time and smother us, which I think that like a lot of times teams when they do that, it really stifles our creativity and our ability to break out and do the things that we do. And I mean, they held us at a stalemate for a really long time doing that. But this team is just different. They cracked the code. They cracked the code and they did their thing. And like this whole match, it just felt like from the start, and correct me if I'm wrong or if you guys felt different, it felt very much like we were controlling the momentum. Did you guys agree?
Absolutely. I would say towards the end, I feel like it shifted a little bit. I think
Mm-hmm.
we definitely got to a point where we're just like, okay, we're just gonna absorb the pressure versus
Yeah.
put the pressure on. So that they could keep whatever formation and like defensive plan in place, which I can see the strategy there. Like when you're more on the attack, there can be the counters that kind of put us in a difficult position to defend. So I I can see absorbing the pressure, but it definitely made it really nerve wracking and made Asman work.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you believe she only had 4 saves? Like officially? Yeah, isn't that
Yeah.
crazy? Because
Saves
they
are
probably
That's
counted the
it.
rest
some
as
for
recoveries.
shots. saves are based on shots, and then you've probably got the rebounds and stuff recovered.
Right. Which is like the recovery thing. I always hate that with keepers because it's like half the recoveries could have ended up being a goal.
Yeah, I
Like,
agree with
it's
that.
like, just count that stuff and save. She balled. She balled in this one. Like, oh my gosh.
You know how like they say in other sports when you watch playoffs, it's definitely like a different gear. It definitely
Yes.
felt that way. You know, I felt it in the stadium. I was nervous the whole game.
Mhm.
Like from beginning to end. Even when the score was zero
Yeah.
zero, I was
You
still
gotta be.
nervous, and it was like a feeling I haven't felt in an LSC game in like I honestly don't know if I
Ever?
have felt it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the only time I potentially felt that was when we last played Jacksonville
Mm.
away. Like I was pacing our house,
Yeah.
like because the game it just felt like a must win
Yeah.
at the time.
To
Mhm.
prove we were
And
the
I
top dog.
honestly, huh?
To prove we were the top dogs. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. There's a
right.
lot riding on that.
Yeah,
No,
but
but it really felt like we turned on that fifth gear, that playoff gear. We just,
Yeah.
we were saving it, break glass in case of emergency. We put it on because everyone was doing everything that
Yep.
they needed to do on the field and then some. Like,
Yeah.
everyone was playing a defensive effort, everyone was playing an offensive effort. It was crazy. Like Sarah Griffith, like her goal, like it was insane. And I knew that she was going to score just the way that she was approaching the game.
Mhm.
She had so much intensity and she was moving in and out of the defenders. And she had a couple shots where, after she took those, she was like, that wasn't, she knew it wasn't right. And she knew that, like, if I find the right look, I can hit it. And, shout out to her off the corner kick and, with her left foot too, which was really
Yeah.
impressive. Oh man, and it was so good of a goal. Like it just like it felt like it just snaked through so many
Yes.
defenders. It was crazy. And like,
It was magic.
at the game, I said to Tyler, like, where would you put this on the pantheon of LSC goals? And he
Number
said number
one.
one.
Number one. No, like just for like multiple reasons. Like we've had bangers, we've
The
had
weight of
wonderful
it.
goals. Yeah, it was yes, it was the fact that it was the thing that opened the floodgates for us. And obviously that might be a little bit more hyperbole than anything because we scored just one more after that. But as far as our energy, I think that opened the floodgates for our energy. We were already doing great. We were already controlling the game. But I think it was that moment that shifted everything for the women. And they were like, no, we're winning this. Like, there's no more question mark. Like, we're going to hold on to this and we're going to lock it down. And just the guts to take that shot. We talk about this all the time with some of our teams, past or present. This whole, well, I got to have the perfect shot. And like Sarah, like, she even said this to us in the interviews, right? She was like, I wasn't sure if it would go in, but I was like, I'm going to take this. I'm going to go
Yeah.
for it and see what happens. And you're right, Dylan. It was like magic. We had the perfect angle where we were sitting, all
Yes.
three of us, because it was coming right at us. And so we saw the whole trajectory of the ball as it was just going past everybody. And then that last ditch defender's effort to try and like lift your leg and kick it. And it just goes right underneath her leg and then goes in. And we were like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But that's what you want. Like shoot or shoot, right? You want
Yeah.
to see these players just like every once in a while. I mean, of course, yes, find your perfect opportunities for sure. But sometimes you just got to see what happens. Just say, you know what? I'm going to try this out. I'll volley it to myself, hit it with the left foot. Whatever happens, happens. And sometimes it's magic. And this time it was magic. So, yeah, number one in LSC history as far as goals is concerned. It overtakes anything with any sort of, you know, whatever vibe you want to give it. Any bangers that we've scored, any like finesse goals, any of those other ones that, was against a rival. This is number one out of all of them.
Tyler, what was it like for you as, a fellow OG when that ball hit the back of the net? Like, what was that emotion for you?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like, some people know this and some people that are newer to the whole team and the vibe don't. But like, I'm a day zero. Like I'm a day zero. The moment that there was word that there was a team, I was already like doing stuff to set up the website and start the blog where all this began. And I was digging into stuff and figuring out, okay, what are we going to do about A, B, and C, and trying to write about those things, and going from where there was no fan base, no team at first, right? Because it was just an idea. It's like, here's our club. We don't even know what we're going to call it. We don't even know what colors we're going to use or what crest we're going to have. And then each of these successive years finishing ninth. Like, it's like we were destined to just be locked into ninth place forever. So somebody did something, and we were bewitched. And so now having this team not only just represent our city so well throughout the whole season, on and off the field, but now they've got the Player Shield. We've got Golden Glove winner, we've got Golden Boot winner, and we're one game away from winning it all. It's surreal to the greatest sense. I still am sitting here like, how? how are we all of a sudden here? And it's amazing. I can't even explain how happy it makes me. It just feels like all of that investment, and I'm sure, and at least I hope other fans feel this way. It's like we invest so much time and money into this squad and effort as far as like making it to games and keeping up with what's happening and cheering them on no matter what. And now fans are getting that payoff. The fans are finally reaping those benefits, whether they just now started watching this past Saturday or they've been there from the very beginning. It has gravity, it has weight, and there's nothing like it, at least until we hoist that final trophy, right? And then I don't even know what emotions I'll be feeling at that point, because I can't fathom it. It's felt so far away for so long, and now it's right here. It's on our doorstep. We just gotta, the Dashers here sent us the update. We just gotta open the door and grab the bag off the porch, and then we're eating good. I'm ready for this. So I'm psyched.
That's awesome.
So let me ask you guys about this. You asked me about like where that goal ranks in LSC history. So old heads know about Kalen Fox's goal line clearances, and like he had several that were clutch, and it just kind of became a thing, right? Allie Brown.
Oh
this
my
weekend,
gosh.
I mean, granted, even if it goes in, might have still won, but we got a clean sheet. Had that stellar goal line clearance. Like, talk about clutch. Where does that rank? Like, knowing about Kalen Fox and a couple other people's goal line clearances that have come over the years, where does that one rank?
Man, it has to be number one for me, because where I was sitting, you could just see how clean it was, where a lot of times you're kind of even like, was that in or was that out? This one was clearly like she saved it right at the goal line.
Yes.
It was so straight on perfect.
Yeah.
And man, it like she came out of nowhere for me, because I saw that ball going and I was like,
There's Allie Brown.
Oh no. Yeah. I was for sure like, oh no, this game it's open now, and then she just shut it. Oh man, it felt incredible.
Yeah.
It seemed to take forever too, because it's like it hit her and then like it falls down and you're like, oh gosh, who's gonna
Where's
run
it going?
Yeah. And I think you could feel the nervous energy from her too, where like she realized like it's not done yet. It's not done yet. I got to get this out of here. And then it just moved in slow motion. And I'm like, oh my gosh, as I see all the other players starting to react and move, and I'm like, please clear the ball, Allie Brown. And she does. and oh my man. Like,
yeah.
Talk about memories. This game just had it all.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, like you mentioned, Dylan, if it had gotten in, I feel like that really would have shifted the momentum.
Yes.
And the whole vibe of the game in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it would have felt like more of a battle. And obviously it still was a battle, but especially after Kat got that second goal, I feel like you could see Dallas deflate.
Yep.
And even though they still kept the pressure on until the very end, like like it just got to a point where it's like, okay, we like when we did the interviews and Sarah was like, our system is too good. And I feel like that game was proof of that as well.
I agree. And because I mean they were holding really strong defensively for a very long time.
Yeah.
We were talking about it, like how their defense was showing up and keeping them in the game. Like if nobody else was, it was that back line and their keeper. Their keeper even had that one phenomenal reaction save that like we all thought was going in. We were like, that's back of the net right there. And she managed to just get her foot out on it. And their back line constantly just in our way. Constantly, like every little trick we tried to move the ball, here, there, let's run around and get onto the through ball or whatever was happening. They were just like a step ahead. And it's clear that they watched a lot of film on our players and knew their tendencies and, what types of things we like to do. And so I got to give them a lot of credit, that plus their general tactical setup where they just were always kind of there and honest. It's almost like they tried to reenact some of what Jacksonville had done to us a couple times, or even Carolina. But we just did the thing. We
I
just
think
we just were on.
I think what worked well was we were just like overloaded them. Like eventually just
Yes.
got to a point where they were making those, saves and, they were making those defensive stops, but it just became too much. Like,
Mhm.
they had a flat back four, for a while and,
Yeah.
they were holding very strong. And, I remember seeing multiple times where the defenders just came out of nowhere and made those stops. And I was like, man, almost had one there, almost had one there. And
Yeah.
then, it just became too much for him and off the corner, that puts the pressure on them. And it was just such a good goal. And it, like you said, it opened the floodgates and I felt like we took that momentum and I don't know, it was just a really good time too. Like it was really fun. The crowd was really great. There was, the supporter section was very loud. I feel like that
Mhm.
definitely had a hand in the game as well. There's just so many factors to this game. It was incredible. Like talk
Yeah.
about, Kat Assman with her efforts as a keeper, keeping us alive. Um it felt like in the second half in those late minutes, she was just like the only thing, like she was just
Yeah.
like the main character at that point.
It's true. I don't know how many times the Railbirds, got the chant going Golden Glove. Like
Hmm.
it was almost
Yeah.
constant because,
It was on repeat.
especially in the second half. Yeah. She was, getting up, claiming the ball out of the air, jumping on top of it. Just like I said, a lot of those are going to show up as recoveries versus saves, but still, you know, she was doing the thing and she kept that ball out of the back of the net. And she had such a stellar game. And, really, truly, everybody was clicking
Hmm.
very well in this one. And it's really nice to see because I feel like playoff matches reveal who you are as a team. Like they really do because like it's such a different vibe. It's no longer all right, we might win, we might lose, we might draw, but there's still season left to play. Let's do this. It's win or go home. And so you truly see everything stripped down to its barest essence. And you get a feel for like, okay, well, who are you? Who are you as a team and as a squad? And we just showed so much composure, yet we had lots of fire. And I just think that that's really, really good sign for us going into next weekend. We just managed the game so well. It didn't
Hmm.
feel out of control for us, even in those like dying embers, where, like you said, Jess, we really just kind of adopted the low block and we're like, let's just weather the storm and see what happens. Which, yeah, longtime LSC fans have a lot of PTSD from that. That's for sure. It's oh my gosh, how many times has that gone wrong for us? But we did it. We held strong. Everybody knew the game plan. The subs we made clearly, had that intent behind the direction that was given to them. Like, hey, we're going to hold off. And, if you get a moment, take a moment. But at the end of the day, just make sure we lock this down and make it a sure thing. And they did that. And just, it was a really good game. And I think it felt even better after coming off of that Tampa game where we all felt like we were just going to bully them and we really didn't. Like we squeaked by,
Mm-hmm.
which
Mhm.
felt strange, right? It was like,
Yeah.
what's going on right now? Like, what is this? And I think that it is a great confidence builder, not just for the team, but for the fans to see
Mm-hmm.
them come off of that type of game against that type of opponent and say, oh, well, here's a playoff contender that we've not always had their number. It's been a little bit back and forth, but we are going to handle them readily and instill confidence across the board for everybody. And it was even cool seeing some of the things that happened in this match, right? Like, Bourgeois, that run that she had, you guys remember that? Where
Oh
she
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
the ball popped off to her and it was her and one
she just
defender, and we were like,
went with it.
go score, go score.
Yes,
I was so
and
bummed that
I
didn't
mean,
end up in a
she's done it
goal.
before.
I know. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna go cook them and just put the ball in the back of the net. But that's what I'm talking about. This game just had a lot of like really cool moments in it that were memorable. It was a memorable playoff match. And
Yeah,
not because it had like a bunch of back and forth to it necessarily. It was relatively one-sided. Um, but it just had, I don't know, the pieces and the makings of just a good game, an enjoyable game to watch. And Dylan, you mentioned this. We had a pretty decent crowd. It wasn't quite the crowd as the game where they gave out all those tickets, but it was a strong crowd for the
yeah.
women's team, if we're being honest.
Oh,
Because it's been tough,
3,235.
right? Which we gotta get those numbers up.
Yeah,
We have to get those numbers up. I know the club, they gave out those 500 tickets and they're already gone, the free ones, but even the ones that aren't free are very affordable. I think I checked on there and they're starting at like $6, and that's
yeah,
for like just about anywhere in the stadium.
But
So,
also, season ticket holders should also have tickets. So, like the
that's
yep,
season
true.
holders, and then also 500 are gone. So that should be
yep,
a decent amount
Yeah.
already.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I mean, I got in the car and my wife told me about it. And I was like, grab extra because I'm forcing friends to come.
Oh
Like,
yeah, for
I'm
sure.
gonna tell them like I've got tickets. You have to come, and so we grabbed a
Mm-hmm.
few so that way I could get a couple of friends and get them out there because they they deserve this so much. Like
Mm-hmm.
I just want it to be packed. I mean, the men have had packed games that meant nothing and that we
Right.
lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is for all the marbles.
Yeah.
Like, and this is an amazing team. I don't know how many people I've met over the last like 2 or 3 weeks that it was their first game ever, and they're like, "Oh man, I didn't realize our women were like good." And I'm like, Yes,
We've
yes."
been trying to tell you.
We've been screaming it at people in Kroger, like, walking through, and then I'm like,
Go to
"Hey,
the
would you like
LSC game.
a coupon for that?" Psych! They're tickets to the game, and they're like, "What game?" I'm like, "Be there, be square." Let's walk off. Um, I just they knew that they deserve it. Oh my gosh! Like, and I I know the team, the club is trying to get some marketing going for it, but it's been lackluster. Like I would have loved like 2 weeks ago, we see the women on every billboard. They
Mm-hmm.
redo them
Mm-hmm.
all, and just nothing but the women's team up there and being like, going to the championship. Come on, let's go. Which I get it. That stuff takes time, but
It
we
is
got to
going to
do it.
be $1.50 beer night.
Yep. $1.50 beer night. A bunch of free
So
tickets went out. I
yeah,
mean,
we,
what
no
else do you
excuse.
want? No excuse. Like this is going to be a historic night,
It
one way or
is.
another, because it's our first final ever. So it's already historic in that sense, in that regard. Never done this, never been to this stage. But like, I don't know. Dylan, you got something, man?
I was gonna say, like, do it for the women too. Like, they're really
Yes,
great people. Like,
Yeah.
when you
truly.
come out to the games and you stay afterwards, if you want to get an autograph, they'll come out,
Hmm.
they'll sign, they'll talk to you. Like, every single one of them is super
Hmm.
approachable. They're really great individuals. Like,
Mm-hmm.
really, you should go out and support them. And they're so fun.
Yeah.
It's a great product on the field. It's just we need to have it packed. We need to have every section having people in it. It just got to be that way. They
Mm-hmm.
deserve it.
One million
It's the
percent.
final. Like, we got to show up for the final.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had one other special moment of the game that I feel like is so subtle but so awesome whenever we get to see it. because it happens so often, is
Yeah.
Ali Pantuso. Just she makes it look so effortless when she steals the ball from a player. Like she'll like be tracking them and just like yoink, yoink, take the ball, like, oh, it's mine now. Like
Always has been.
and the player is just like they're still going and don't even realize what just happened. Like that, yeah.
Phenomenal.
I always wonder. She takes off with the ball sometimes too, and I'm like, just keep going, just keep taking it.
Modern center back right there. Let's go.
That was just another like fun moment. I think that every time she does, it's like, yep, the Ali special.
The Ali special. I love it. And you know, like speaking of that, just you could pick out probably some stellar moment for each of the players on the squad. And I think like we've said this before, but I think this game kind of drives it home more. These teams prepare for us and they are like, all right, yeah, like here's the game plan. Here's what we're going to do. But I just think that we showed yet again that like no matter how much you watch film and how much you prepare, we have such a special group that they just find ways to make it work. And sometimes it's unorthodox. Sometimes it's not what we're used to seeing out of them. And you're like, oh, we're doing that instead. Okay, that's cool. And I just think it's going to carry us into a good place, you know? Like in looking at the game that happened. So we already locked ours down. Carolina, Jacksonville. I don't know about you guys. I prefer to play Jacksonville because Carolina's hot. It's not necessarily, you know, that I don't think we can beat them. It's just because they're hot right now. And it's them in Spokane, RIP. Them in Spokane that have always given us fits for whatever reason. Last year, this year, either way. So Jacksonville was my preferred choice, but I knew Carolina was going to get them. And they scored early. I mean, like what? 6 minutes in or something crazy. It was not very long before they got a goal. They did like a good little team misdirection, slide in, get the ball, score, and then just held on for the entire time.
It felt like we got the notification. The game started. We put our phone down. We had to go do something. Got a notification. Oh, they scored! Like
like it's immediate.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just interesting to me. They scored and then they just kind of like sat back and they did their thing. So I'm very curious because, you know, if it had been a little bit, I don't know, closer, maybe we would have seen something different from Carolina and get a little bit more of a sneak peek. Because I feel like at that point they were just playing pretty defensively to hang on and say like, all right, let's just protect this and keep Jacksonville out of the net. And then if they score, then we'll deal with it at that point. Because again, playoffs, different beast, right? You know, you can afford, honestly, you can afford a tie. You can afford to draw and then let it go to extra time or PKs, unlike other matches. But at the same time, like in an ideal world, you want to hang on to that. And I think that's what they were trying for. I think that this is going to be a very good match this weekend, though. Honestly, like I know we had talked about like the storyline of the 1 versus the 2, Lexington versus Jacksonville, the two teams that have stayed on top of the table the entire time, and the stories that go into that. I think we actually have a better game in store for us with Carolina, though.
Yeah.
Now, it might be more of a nail biter. We might be all sitting there sweating, but, you know, if you're a soccer fan, I think that this would be the matchup that's preferred. And I think we're about to see something probably pretty special. I just hope that we're the ones that reap the benefits from it because it's going to be a tough one for sure.
Yeah.
It's like Mackenzie George is with them now. And when she was with Brooklyn, she would always kind of give us some troubles. And so now that she's with Carolina, who is a team that gives us troubles, you know, I'm like, oh man. And she's the one that scored that goal against Jacksonville. And I'm like, oh no, don't give her any more fuel. But I think this is going to be a very, very close, good match. I don't predict a blowout no matter what.
No.
I just don't see it. I think it'll be very much like a 1-0.
Yeah.
Or like a 1-1 with extra time and PKs. Like,
oh, don't say that.
I'm gonna say it because it might happen.
My body cannot handle
it. But think of the scenes. Think of the scenes. Cat Asman saves that final shot. And then we all lose it. $1.50 beers in the air everywhere. And we're just going crazy. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Anyway.
I agree. I think it'll be a low scoring game. I went ahead and wrote down our previous match results. So in October when we played them, it was a draw 1-1. Then we played them in February. We won 2-1, but in April we lost 1-0. So all around, the games have, I feel like, been fairly even. Because even when we did lose, they got that goal towards the end of the game, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think it's pretty late on, and it's just
72nd minute.
Yeah.
I
Go ahead,
think we can win. Like I believe in the squad that we can win for sure. I'm just more nervous than I was if this was Jacksonville.
Agreed.
But I still think we can win. I believe in the squad. Like,
yes.
Like think about all the players that we could just list off that are just like phenomenal. Like you would have them as a starter on any team, really. Like Kenzie and Pantuzo and Sarah Griffith, Eddie McCain, Kat Barry. Like all these people are just like they're stars. They're the best players in the league, and we have them on our roster starting for our team. I believe in them. I trust them. It's a good.
I agree.
Squad.
And then wait until Aaron Erin Malloy subs in, and no, but seriously though, like this is a tested squad, battle tested. And I know there for a while we had some rotation happening, and it was almost like who's really the true starter here and what's going on, and things started settling over time. And they are what they are. We have what we have. And I think that it's great. I think that they play with a lot of synergy. I think that they, when we look at how they play and how they react after they win, this team, like this thing here means something to them. Like you can tell. We've had squads in the past where not everybody on that squad
they don't buy in.
Feels that.
Yeah,
they don't.
Right.
We've in the past, and I'm not necessarily saying men's or women's. I'm just saying in general. We know some players that you talk about the badge, and they're just like, "I'm here." And it's like, okay, but why are you? I'm here. Like, but this is a squad that I feel like truly is like, we're gonna do this for this club and for the city and these fans. And I think that they understand what it means to us that we get this done. Like, I mean, we're talking about like this is history making right here already. But if they end up cleaning shop and taking this trophy, like that, you're talking a near perfect season.
Yeah.
A near perfect season doesn't come around very often. And so, I mean, they've already, in my mind, achieved legend status. But this would cement it times a million. Like, because who knows when it's all going to happen again. USL is so finicky, and there's so much buying and selling and turnover.
It's volatile.
Even when you do good, right? You do good, and then it's like, well, now the NWSL really, really wants this player because they did so good with us on that year that we won everything, and then they're gone. And sure, we have money to invest again, but you're probably not going to see this same squad, this same setup again. And so we got to really cherish this while it's happening right here and right now. And so, like, I'm trying to not rush ahead to Saturday, and I'm trying to tell myself, like, just kind of bask in this for a little bit, like feel it out, like let this just absorb into your body that we are where we're at and how amazing that is. At the same time, though, I'm like, I'm ready to hoist that trophy. I'm ready for that to be ours,
or steal the player shield.
Yeah. Can you imagine somebody trying to pick that thing up?
Jeez.
Yeah. Somebody with like a trank dart on the roof. They were getting ready to put him to sleep, drag him off to the interrogation chamber.
Definitely not Dylan.
Yeah, they thought he was a Jacksonville fan trying to steal it. But the PK, as they drag him off.
I just really wanted my moment with glory, you know?
Yeah.
I'm valid.
I get that. I get that.
That lady's reaction though when you went to pick it up was hilarious. She's like, no.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
No one ever. I didn't get a warning that I couldn't.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Fair.
Yep. Until the spray bottle came out.
Yeah. There was a red laser I saw floating around, and I just was like, whoa, I'll slowly put this back.
Could be your first tattoo, Dylan. You can just get the life-size tattoo of the player shield across your back.
No.
You be the player shield.
That would be cool, but I think it would be better if their signatures were also on it.
Well, that's why they are there, and they tattoo it on you as well.
Good point.
Yeah. I mean, duh. Come on, man. full of problems instead of solutions, Dylan. No, it was cool seeing that in person though. That was I really like that they had that where you could get pictures with it. I thought that was neat. Just to kind of just be there and see it and be like, oh my gosh, it's real. It's a thing. It's our first trophy ever. Like
next time I'll Nicolas Cage it, you know.
Yeah. Steal the Declaration of Independence / Player Shield. That's what it is.
Everyone will be so preoccupied by the game, the final. You know, everyone's gonna be looking, and right when Kat Berry scores her first goal of the night, everyone will be cheering, and that's when I'll be, you know, like a thief in the night. You know.
Then it turns out you're just like the bad guys in the movie, and you see Nicolas Cage running off with it, and then you start chasing him with your goons, and you're like, "I'm gonna get him!" And yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
No, but we got this. Saturday's a lock. We're gonna do this. I'm gonna bring as many people as I can. I lost my voice for part of the day yesterday. Like my kids were like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, I got very excited at this match and may have strained my vocal cords.
It was so nice to have Memorial Day off for like that reason to like recover on Sunday from the game Saturday. It's like, can we have another 3-day weekend for LSC?
Ooh. I say we win it all. Everybody gets a note to not go to work on Monday because there's a city parade.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
That'd be really cool. But
how rad would that be?
Last day of school. Forget the last day of school.
School's out.
I'll have plenty of last days of school. This is history. Come on, we're teaching them history. That's what it is. Curriculum. Got it.
Yep.
I'm gonna link this to Kentucky standards. Don't worry, guys. I've got everybody. I'm gonna link it. We'll make a lesson plan. It'll be a approved field trip. Yeah, it's a lock.
And if you say no, you just don't support women.
Not powered by her.
Not powered by her. Could you imagine not being powered by her? Anyway, some people. There is a shirt out. Speaking of Saturday being powered by her. Did you guys see the finalists?
Final?
Like, the shirt for the finals.
Is it 2 shirts or is it one and it has a front and a back?
Yeah, because one lists the us and Carolina, and the other one is just that. Which it's a little bit of a catch-22 because the like collector in me wants one of them, but then I'm also like, but I really want the one that says that we won.
Right.
That's the one I'm holding out for. Honestly, is the one that says we're champs.
Same.
It's gonna happen. Yeah, but it's cool. I'm glad they did that. I might still get one. Who knows? That way I can say we were finalists and the champs. Just have a shirt for each occasion. I'll wear the championship one underneath the finalist one. And so that way it's a talking point when I go places. People are like, whoa, you guys made it to the finals. And I'll be like, well, actually, and then just rip the shirt. And then underneath it says we're champs. Big reveal, Superman style. Okay. Women's team, a lock. We're going to do this. Any final thoughts on the game or where we're going?
I don't know. I just feel like the women deserve it all. Like
Everything.
It's been such a good season to think like we've come this far. You know, we were always projected to do very well with the squad, but to like maintain the success the whole year, have a new head coach, you know, We were unbeaten for a while. We lost, but we bounced back. We got to first place again. We won the league.
Mm-hmm.
It's been great.
Last game, or not last game. No, yeah, it was last game. Coach Kaz said, in other countries, it's like the biggest deal to
Oh,
win
yeah.
the league, and
Mhm.
I think, that is a point. Like the whole,
Yeah.
how many games did you win throughout the season to, hold off all the other opponents? So I don't know, just being league champions is really good. I definitely am not satisfied with that. I want to win the playoffs to like cement it all,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I'm gonna
Leave
be
no
honest.
doubts.
It was last season, was Tampa Bay the winner of both the?
No, Carolina had the Shield.
See, I feel like if you don't win both, you're kind of like maybe forgotten a little bit, So I don't want to be forgotten. I want to win both, and just like this was LSC's year. This was
Mm-hmm.
the year of our dominance, in the league.
Yeah. I
I
agree.
100% agree. Yeah, I think we got this, and I think that it will be historic. It's going to be good. Um, man, but like speaking before we shift to the men's, I kind of already like brought this up. I just want to like bring this up because it's a big deal, and I know it's not our team, but if you're unaware, if you are not locked into as much stuff, like Spokane Zephyr is no more. And so one of the teams that has consistently plagued us, one of the teams that we've managed to get some of our top talent from for this year is ceasing operations because I guess apparently they decided that the market wasn't there for it, which sucks. Which sucks because you know I know it's not our team, but I do have some very particular thoughts on this, and I know like Benji, who does the Spokane Soccer Show, he has some content out there where he just really gets into it, and it's
Mm-hmm.
very raw because I mean he's a fan, right? He's doing a whole podcast for them,
Right.
and he knows a lot of the players and staff, and knows the impact this makes. But it just really really sucks because with the USL you have such high hopes. There's all this talks of like the future and where we're going as a league and the ambitions and how we're going to stay relevant, and how we're going to stay stable. And then year after year, you still see these types of things happening in the USL where clubs fold or clubs kind of limit their operations. And, thinking from the perspective of the players and the staff, for it to just come out of nowhere and then be like, good luck,
Yeah.
you know, whatever you do, go do it. And, obviously, there will be opportunities for some players at other USL or Gamebridge Super League teams once the season concludes, but not for everybody. A lot of people that thought like, okay, I'll be here next year, or there's potential for me to be here next year. Now that's not happening at all. And it just really is a bummer to see the human toll that stuff takes, because it just feels really irresponsible to start a team if you're not positive you can make it work in your
Mm-hmm.
markets. You know what I mean? Like I know everything's a risk. You don't have certainty. All you have is what you think will happen. But it also just feels like to call it quits on a team after 2 seasons and that's it,
Yeah.
it is also kind of irresponsible, when you could very well be like, you know what, we vetted this all out. We know that we would had some work to do. Like we know that it wouldn't be easy, um, but you have to stick it out and see if you can build that. Not just say like we're going to field the team and hope people come out, and if people don't, then we'll be like, well, the community didn't really want it. And it's like, but is that true? Is
Right.
that true that the community didn't want it, or did you just not put enough resources into making the community realize it was there and that they wanted it?
Yeah.
We've talked about this in years past too with LSE, even how many times you go places and everybody's like, what is that? what is an
Yeah.
LSC? And it's like, it's
Yeah.
a pro soccer team. And they're like, oh, I know a 4-year-old that plays for the youth side. Is that what it is? And it's like, no. There's pro soccer here in town. So, we've even seen that on our end. And so it's not out of left field to think that it's happening in other markets as well, where, especially for the women's side, how much of your resources are you putting into making sure people know? How
Yeah.
much of your resources are you really using to highlight your women's programs? And if you're not putting resources in there to support them, and that was never your intention, then you should not have started a women's team, because it's irresponsible, and now it's put people in a very bad situation. The fans are gutted. The players are without a landing spot.
Jobs.
Yeah, it's just the toll of it all is just too steep for people to be so flippant about making these types of decisions. Because, I mean, frankly, at the USL level, you're not becoming an owner of these soccer teams to get rich. And if somebody's telling you that you're going to get rich by owning a USL club, they're lying to you. And you need to make sure you talk to plenty of people to realize exactly what you're getting into. And if that was your intention, I'm going to make all these clubs and get rich, you were not talking to people that were being honest with you. This is an investment, and it's something much bigger. And, I think our owners understand that it's not like a get rich quick type of situation. It's more of like you're going to have to pour resources in and see what you can pull out of this. But it's just a shame that we still have owners that are falling into those traps when the USL has been around for such a long time, and ambitions within the league have grown so much over the past few years. I just, and it's scary too. It's scary because you look at our attendance.
Yeah.
Even with us having the squad in the league, and being just chock full of talent, breaking records, winning accolades, winning the Players Shield, and you look around, and our playoff game is drawing what a mid-tier men's game on a Wednesday night would draw. And what are we doing as a club to ensure their success and that they don't experience the same thing? And us fans who have invested all this time, money, and care also don't experience that. So I hate it for Spokane. It was always fun playing them because you always knew it was going to be tough. And I just really hope all of those players and those staff members find somewhere that appreciates them and knows what a commitment it is to run a women's club. And I hate it for the fans too. It really sucks. I'm glad they still have, their men's team to support, but small consolation, right? When you think about, how we're really trying to show that women's sports are important in this day and age, because too many people just still have that mindset of it's not as good of a product. It's not up to par, and it is. It is, and the same people who think that would get smoked by any of these women in a 1v1,
Oh, yeah.
they would get rocked, and then they're still
Oh
going
my
to have the
gosh,
guts to be like, well, it's not the same as watching the men's team. It's like, what, the men's team lose? I guess it's not the same. You're right. And sorry to take some stray shots there, but it's true. How are we going to all show out as a fan base for a men's team that loses and it's a random Wednesday, and we're not showing out for our women's team on a Saturday for a final? I guess that's where I'm going with it, aside from just condolences to Spokane, but that should make it very real for a lot of fans that we need to make sure that we help make this successful for the women. Whatever the club is or isn't doing, we have a role in it too, to help that human element stay feeling supported, and that they're not just some type of product on the field.
Well, and that's the thing too, is I think it hit the Super League fan base in general. Everybody who's a fan of a Super League team is now thinking, oh crap,
right,
if this can happen to them, it can happen to us. Like you've touched on with our attendance at times, how it's been low with, as well as we've been performing. And not only that, I feel like it causes the Cambridge Super League as well to lose a bit of credibility in how they might grow the league, because we're 2 years in and we're we're net zero as far as teams, like, oh, we grew this year, oh, but now we're going back down. So yeah, it just it so it makes it harder to make it feel competitive in that sense. If, oh, well, there's only 8 teams, so it seems like small potatoes, when really we have, the whole league has so much talent. Like, if players are getting pulled up to the NWSL, or
Right.
we're bringing players from the NWSL to the Gainbridge Super League, like, there is so much talent out there, but if we can't get that momentum, then it makes me a little fearful for the Gainbridge Super League in general.
100%.
Yeah.
I agree, but I don't know. We'll see what happens from here, and I just think that the league going for D1 sanctioning, and then we are expecting to compete with the NWSL, or at least be on par with them, and then we already have clubs folding. It's not a great look.
Not a good look.
It's not a
No.
great look.
No,
Like,
not
I
great.
think the league really, really, really needs to like vet these owners, and I know they've been trying really hard to. I know that they've gotten more processes in place than they used to, but like it has to be a conversation that they have to have with anybody that wants to run a team. That to be like, look, you're committing to this, just so you know, because you're going to make us lose credibility and give us all kinds of bad PR and bad situations that we're gonna have to deal with if you can't run this and spin it however they have to, but like can't keep doing it. It's bad enough that we have men's teams folding, but like the women's teams, we need them supported and we need them having longevity, because just it feels like it's also driving home the idea that a lot of the women's teams are just secondary and byproducts and like kind of like a side project
Right.
to these clubs that started with the men's team. And they're like, well, you know what? Let's just see if we can get a women's team going and see if we can get some cool stuff happening with that. If it works out, cool. If it doesn't, meh, we still have the men's team.
But,
And
we're not going to put as much marketing into it, and we're not going
right,
to like put as much effort into growing that fan base. Like,
right.
yeah,
Make it make sense.
yeah,
I think their excuses are a cop out to me,
Yeah.
and I feel like it's
yeah,
even more disrespectful the fact that they're only folding the women's team.
Hmm.
To say
Mhm.
that they don't have like the fan base, to support. It's like you have a direct fan base who are interested in soccer right there. I mean, there's an avenue like LSC did, like the LC1 membership. Then you have people who are automatically enabled to
Hmm.
have tickets to the women's game right there. Like,
Right.
there's
Hmm.
just so many things that you can do to not put yourself in that position of folding the team. Like, you have to think, like, how did we get here? What were the
Yep.
decisions that we made that led us to this point?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and like you just touched on, Dylan, what a slap in the face to the fans to be like, oh, you guys didn't try hard enough.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
That was wild.
I
Yeah.
think
The market's
if
not there. Whatever.
that were to happen to us and then be like, oh, sorry guys, like you didn't do enough, I would be like, a big screw you to
Hmm.
that, because like how dare you?
Yeah. I'd say
Yeah.
we've done a lot, as fans to try and support them, at least like out of the core fan base. And, I think we'll see more attendance now that more people have come out because the club finally gave out free tickets, which I wish, again, we said
We
this, I
should have
wish
done
they
that
had
so
done
much
it early in the
sooner.
season. Yeah, we would have already seen some rise in attendance. But yeah, it's scary. I hope it doesn't happen to us. I hope it doesn't happen to any other club. I hope,
Yeah.
our ecosystem stays strong and this is just kind of a one-off situation that doesn't impact the league as we go forward and we get more settled. I guess if you want to think of a bright side, I guess it's better now than 10 years down the road, I don't know. I don't know if it is better. But there are a lot of great players out there. So, if we do end up having the situation where, players move on to other opportunities and, NWSL clubs come calling and say, hey, we'll give you however much money, this record-breaking fee like they did for Amina, then I guess we have a lot of players out there that I'm sure would be very happy to play here.
Mhm.
And I just hope they find something. I wish them the best because I couldn't imagine having the rug pulled out from under me just like that, like what happened to
Right.
them. Yeah. All right. Well, now that we've kind of like gone down
We're
Bummer Alley,
here.
so we stay in Bummer Alley.
Well,
And
we
then-
have really no other choice but to
Yes.
continue down the
There's a
road.
dark shadow waiting at the end of it, and I'm like, I don't even have any money, man. And he's like, I don't want your money. I want your pain. I want you to suffer while you
I
watch
want your
this clip.
soul.
I want you to watch this clip of your team losing. And I'm like, gosh, the men's team. So, like, first off, like, it was so funny because we're at the match, and like, I hate to be this way, but everybody that was like, Tyler, the score is, and I'm like, shh.
Like, I don't
Playoff
care.
match.
Stop
Yeah.
I'm watching
talking.
a playoff match right now. I'll look at it later. But geez, Louise, like, man, like, Indy isn't even a team in that great of shape, and they just
Not worth it.
they dog walked us. Like, it just, man, like a 3-1 loss. It stings. Like, we try and be positive, but out of this one, the only positive was that Aaron Malloy banger. Like, I mean, it, just watching the whole thing, that's always the bright spot, right? We always have Aaron Malloy being like, you know what? I know you guys are bummed, but just for you, I'm going to shoot it from 40 out. Does that sound okay? And I'm like, yeah, Aaron Malloy, go ahead and do that. It'll make me feel somewhat okay. And he's like, all right, no worries, Tyler. No, but seriously though, like, number one, that was a phenomenal goal. Like, I don't know how he keeps scoring these goals that he's scoring.
Yeah.
I just don't even know. And the bend, like, it's going and the keeper is totally moving one direction, and then all of a sudden it just changes trajectory and just goes right in there. That was a phenomenal moment from that match. A lot of things were not phenomenal. Like, let's start off with the most obvious one. How we're in
3
the wee
minutes.
hours of the match, and Javane Brown punches a guy, slaps him, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. That was the softest foul to get that upset about.
Mhm.
Like, unless I'm mistaken, it was like Rendon, and he was like on his back
Yeah.
as they were like, he's trying to get the ball, kind of harassing him. He wasn't over the top. You watch it in slow motion, and he's on him, sure, but not in like
It wasn't an encroachment.
Yes, it was not an intense foul by any means. And Javane gets up and just socks him. And it's like, there can't have been that much chirping before the match. You're 3 minutes in, and that's your reaction. Like, I don't know if there's bad blood outside of that. I don't know if something was said. No matter what, like, I just gotta say, I'm super tired of our men's players, like, once a year, deciding, you know what, here's a match. Let me get a red for a really dumb reason.
Yeah.
Like, you're a professional soccer player. You play professionally. And somebody like Javane, just like Ajago, when he did saying, they've been in the MLS. Like, they've played at high levels, and you can't keep your cool 3 minutes into a match. And then you put us in a situation where then, like, the first person to score the goal is the guy that's running down the side that you're supposed to be covering, but you're not there anymore because you threw a punch and got a red card.
Mhm.
And then he scores not long. Like, I just need us to get it together, like on the men's side. I just really need that. And I love these players, and I'm so grateful for them being here. And they're all such phenomenal athletes. But man, like, we have to start getting it together. The same thing every year is frustrating. And they're the ones that are on the billboards, not our women.
Yeah. Right.
Who are like crushing it. We have
Yeah.
our men on the billboard that go out and get, stomped by any team that's not in 12th. And like, we have so much talent, and we know Mac is a good coach.
Yeah.
He's doing it on the women's side. And so it's like, again, what in the heck is happening? And like the goals too, like that first goal, Rendon running down, nobody on him, and then it has to be Simle in a 1v1. Like essentially, right? Because everybody else is out covering runners, but nobody's covering the guy with the ball. So he gets put in a 1v1, has to get big, doesn't get a hand on it, nothing. It goes to the far post. It's in, right? The other two, like you have that sneaky little goal where they did a little combination in the box, and there goes an unmarked runner straight at the goal and scores. And then you have the one that's the header that was scored, where he is literally the only human jumping in the air while we have our players near him standing and looking at him while he jumps up for the ball. And nobody's putting a body on him. Nobody is moving. Nobody
Not
jumps.
unmarked.
Totally just the only person that jumps and gets ahead on the ball. And everybody else is watching. Like, and it wasn't a bang, bang play. That ball was sailed in. Like, you can see the trajectory the whole time. And nobody's making a move on it. And he basically
Just
gets
look
a
at
free
that.
goal. Yes. And so I'm like, we're struggling. And then here we are with all these unmarked players in the box for these goals. And Indy, in my opinion, is not like they're not a team that we couldn't beat.
They are fifth in the Eastern Conference.
They've jumped up because they got that win, man. Like,
yeah.
and I feel like, talent wise, if you look at us on paper, you're like, yeah, that's doable. And apparently not. And I get it. I get we were down to 10. Like, I understand that we're playing the whole entirety of the match.
Self-inflicted wound, though.
But like, yeah, number one, self-inflicted wound. Number two, like at that point, just stave them off. Get us a point. Like I don't know what else to say, because like it just sucks that it just seems like we're constantly shooting ourselves in the foot, like over and over and over again every single week, and it's perplexing. It's like it always has been. Like the only year that ever made any sort of sense for like results was like year one in League One, because it was the first year in League One. We had a lot of people that we had to go to like all corners of the world to go like dig up. And like, frankly, like, and this is not my opinion. This is something that, I've been told, like, it was a lot of players that, not a lot of teams were looking at them, and we brought them in, and we still did, solid for year one. But like all these other years, we've just invested so much and pulled in all these names and promised so much. And then every year we're just floating at the bottom of the table for so much of the season. And there's still plenty of time to turn it around. Like this isn't a time to lose hope. I'm not saying that. I'm not like, oh my gosh, burn it all to the ground. But man, yeah. And, early years, year one and year two, I'm able to kind of take it and still vibe and be like, okay, you know what? We're still getting our feet under us. Like at this point, we should have our feet under us, like as a team, as a club. And it is getting frustrating.
I'm going to say, like, yeah, I think we're at the point of, like, this is an emergency, though, because, like, the women right now are masking the entirety of what is the men's team. Like, all their issues, we're not even really, like, paying attention that much because the women's team is doing so well. And by this time last season, I feel like we were in much dire of a scenario, or like we felt it was a much more dire of a scenario.
Right.
And right now we're just not paying as much attention, so we don't feel that way. Where I feel like we're in a bad spot right now. We're not in good form. Like, we don't have a good system going. Like, our best goal scorer is our midfielder, who has to make a miracle anytime he wants to score. Like, I love Aaron Malloy. He's clearly our best player. But anytime he scores, it has to be, he has to pull out, something from the Lucky Charms, in order to score. Why can't we have our other skill players, making those moves and scoring for us? We just, like, there's such a disconnect. There's really like no chemistry. If you go back to like what Tyler was saying with year one, there was just like an energy and vibe, and like I don't want to be one of those weird people, or it's like and all that astrology like goober stuff like that doesn't speak to me. But there was like an energy that the team had, which like carried through to
Mhm.
both sides of it was on the pitch and off the pitch. Like everyone enjoyed watching the team. It was a fun product on the field, even though we weren't winning every game. It still was like, oh, hey, next game, like it feels like we have them. Like all the players felt so much more invested. Like Kalen Fox and Atez Diouf, like those guys, like they put it on the line, and it just doesn't seem like we have any of that, you know, like mystique anymore for the men's team. Like it just feels like 11 guys are getting paid to go out on the field and try to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
It's just been really, really tough. Just seeing everything that we keep bringing in and it just not happening. I mean, we're rolling, like, to kind of give you an idea, as far as like goals per match, we're last in or no, not last, but we're 20th. We're 20th right now in goals per match, which is pretty rough. Like we have like 1.1 per match, and that's it. So barely over one expected goal when we show up to a match. Um, Goals conceded, we're like 16th, 1.4. So over one goal per match
Mm.
conceded. Um, Man, like our possession solid. We've had a few clean sheets, but we're just not producing. And if we start looking at all of our matches that we've played, we've leaked a lot of goals. Like, right? I mean, we've held a couple, like, Brooklyn, staved them off. Flower City. Flower City, we staved them off. Let's go. Sacramento, we held them. Orange County. So we've had like a few where we've been like, all right, yeah, like let's keep them out of the net. Too many games with goals though. And I just feel like Indy was a really good representation of where we're at defensively. Like just all those unmarked, untracked people scoring goals. Just all three of them, and again, I know we were down 10, and I know one of our defenders is one of the ones that was out of the mix, but like, gosh, we just gotta quit letting teams score. And for me, I could excuse it if we were scoring in bunches. You know what I mean? If that's our identity, if our identity is we go out there and we're gonna outscore you, frankly, whatever.
Mhm.
I'll respect it. That's fine. But like clearly, we are not that team. We are not that team that's gonna go out there and outscore you in bunches. So like we got to do something defensively. I don't know if it's like we start looking around for some midseason pickups or what, because we don't have problems doing that in the past, with any of our teams. Something has to happen.
I think we brought Brodilio back.
Right. And like, if
I,
we're going to bring him back, whenever he did really good with Knoxville.
yeah,
He
that's what I'm
played
saying. I
really
think
good.
they're bringing him back. So hopefully
Right.
they. Well, that's the thing. They're bringing him back. I hope they use him. You
Mhm.
Yes.
know.
Right. Because you might as well. Like if you're going to recall him, he's clearly in form.
Yeah.
He's doing his thing with Knoxville. And so like you got to use him and give him a chance to show up here because, I support every single one of these players, and they're all much greater at soccer than I could ever dream to be. But we also need them to deliver. And right now, something is not clicking that's delivering for us. And for me, like, I'm okay if we just get our defense figured out. If we just figure out how to be a more defensively sound team, that for me would be step one. I feel
Yeah.
like that's like your groundwork. You know what I mean? First, let's figure out how we stop teams from getting goals on us. Because at the end of the day, that'll at least start buying you draws. And that's points, which is more than you
Mhm.
can say for a lot of other situations, right? And then you start worrying, okay, like now that we've got that sorted, how do we hit them with the counter? Or how do we, set it up where we can get that goal that's going to allow us to potentially get these 3 points and not only just get the goal, but now we hold on to that lead. Like how are we going to structure ourselves as a team to make sure that they're not getting one back? Like it's ours to hold on to, because I really, really love pretty high octane attacking soccer. I love it. I think everybody does. Everybody wants that. But you also have to understand that that's a luxury. That's kind of a luxury, right? Because like there are stakes at high levels, and so if you're going to play pretty high octane attacking soccer, it has to be that. It has to deliver, and you have to have goals. So if you're not able to do that, if that is not something that you are equipped with your system or with your players, personnel, whatever, then you have to go back to basics and be like, first, we're going to be a team that takes care of business defensively.
Mhm.
And it might not be flashy. Some people might be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're that defensive team now. But at the same time, like that's the only way you're going to get any points. Like defense reigns supreme.
Yeah.
Nobody can get anything from you if you are locking them out. And at the end of the day, we are clearly not that team that's going to be able to claw back on a regular basis whenever a team scores on us and say, well, that's fine, but we got 2 more waiting for you.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I hate to sound dismissive and say, well, let's just get new players. That's,
Right.
it's not that that's my knee jerk reaction to it all, but I don't think that there's anybody out there that could say that things are going smooth,
Mhm.
like they just aren't.
Well, what's puzzling is like we talk about the roster. Like, isn't this supposed to be a good roster? Like, aren't we supposed to have
Pretty
the pieces?
phenomenal.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like last season, Joe Hafferty was one of our standout players, and like he has not found his form, or like he's not even playing really that often. So
He was on like
like,
the injury list, wasn't he?
Yeah, I was gonna
yeah.
say
Yeah.
yeah.
But I'm just saying, like overall
So
the season, and the whole like Zengay and Green, and like we're moving them, and then we got Brown, and like there's just been so much movement in that back line, and we're not having any stability. And man, I don't know if getting new players is the answer. Like it could be. I'm not saying it's not, but
right.
Mhm.
we've
Right.
already like we get players all the time. Like we're constantly rotating people, and it just doesn't seem to matter. Like now we have Latif starting, and it doesn't matter. Like it's systematically a thing. Like
Yeah.
we just have to, whatever we're doing isn't working. We have to try a new style of ball. We have
Mhm.
to go back to basics and simply, like Tyler said, just become a defensive team and then try to score like off of that. Like we can't play like attack minded. We have to play defensive minded in order to be like successful at this point.
Well, and I wonder too if Coach Mack, if he brings a similar strategy as he had for the women, if he's like, well, it worked for the women, let's do it for the men. Um, and so obviously, I don't know if that's what he's been doing, but yeah, I feel like you guys have touched on already. We have the makings of something really good, and it's just not working. Yeah.
It's not clicking.
Broken record.
I mean, that's what it truly feels like, because you can pick apart film and look at it and be like, well, yeah, they beat this player doing this and then this player doing that. But I feel like there are some things from match to match that are, similar, right? Symptomatic. You see it and you're like, oh, yeah, we do that a lot. But there are a lot of things that match to match, you're like, huh, but why did that happen? That's not
Mhm.
something that normally happens to us. Like, I don't think I've noticed a match where we've had so many unmarked people in the box as we did against Indy. And like, why? You know what I mean? Like, why? Because even if you're saying like, well, we only have 10 and we lost one of our defenders, it's like, okay, but you still have your other 3 defenders, and you also have players that know how to defend, even though they play higher up the pitch. So why are we having all these people running through the box doing whatever they want? And
Mhm.
I'm sure Coach Mack is going to be addressing that. I like, how can you not? And we're going to obviously have a different lineup again this weekend because we're not going to have Javane Brown. And so you're going to have somebody new in that spot. And who knows? I don't know if Hafferty's healthy. I don't know if it's going to be like a Zinga and Green combo on the outsides. Who knows, right? But it's just we're at this point where we have to get some sort of momentum. And it can't just be momentum that sputters because we're playing a bad team. Like, it's not
Mhm.
enough to play a bad team and get a win and be like, all right, we're back, because we really aren't. We really aren't. It's like, that's a bare minimum style win. We have to start being competitive with these other teams. We have to show them like we have quality, because we do, and make the points actually demonstrate that for us. Because I don't want another season where we're scraping to the finish line. You know what I mean? Like, we're every season with the men, it's always like, oh man, it's coming down to the final day to see if we can actually get the very last spot in the playoffs. And we need 14 different favors from 14 different teams. And then we miss the playoffs and
Mhm.
we finish ninth. Like, it's a running joke, right? But it's true. We're always like finishing ninth, and like, we just cannot seem to scrape ourselves out of the basement. And like, for me, with the talent that's on this roster, playoff appearance is bare minimum. That is bare minimum that we make it into the playoffs. Like, and I don't think that's unreasonable to expect at this point with the level of talent that we have. Um, and obviously, we know Coach Matt can do it. Like, at the very least, we know that he knows how to like get a draw, get a point, right? And we're fans of him. We think that he does a great job, and we've even said this before. We don't want this one situation to cause people to discount him forever, right? Because
Mhm.
again, it was kind of an on the fly thing, right? He's sitting there doing his thing for the women's team, and all of a sudden it's like, surprise, coaching the men now. And who knows how much say he had in that roster build. It could have been a lot. It could have been not very much because of how quick things changed. But I still think that there's hope for the season. I still believe that the talent and the coaching is there, that we can pull it together. I still think that even if it ends up being a rough season, we can't do the coaching carousel again. We can't, because it's not working for us. It's just not
Mhm.
working for us. Um, and so we need to have some stability and longevity to what's being built. But we cannot keep doing things year after year that just self destructs what we're trying to build. And I feel like too often that happens. Like, a punch to the face 3 minutes in cannot happen at the professional level for us to be successful.
Mhm.
Like, it just, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. I feel a little bit worried whenever I look at who we have as far as staff and players, and then wondering how come we still haven't found our stride. And I just don't know what that is at that point. And you start asking, like, okay, well, is it something intangible that turns into one of those tangible elements, right? Like, just how everybody vibes, or, how they all respond to one another, coaching, player, whatever. Like, is everybody on the same page? Is everybody feel the same weight about the situation? Are they feeling like, man, the fans deserve these wins and we should be giving them more? Or are there some people on the squad that don't feel that way? You know what I mean? It's all speculation, but you start wondering, like, okay, so if we're a talented squad, what's missing? What's missing out of that?
Yeah.
And when we talk about a talented squad, we have a lot of veteran players too. So
Mhm.
we shouldn't really have a lot of people getting lost. Yes, coaching matters a whole lot. And I'm sure Mac knows, like, coaches bear a lot of the responsibility in these moments. But at the same time, when you have a field with a lot of veteran players out there too, you would hope that that veteran experience would translate as far as like, ooh, system's not working against this team. But you know what? I've been in this situation before. Here's what we're going to do. You know what I mean? And like, because you have to make those moves on the fly. Soccer, you don't have a bunch of timeouts where you can go over and be like, all right, coach, what do we change? You know, and Matt can shout it from the sidelines and he can say, hey, I need you to cover this guy or do this. But you also need those leaders on the field that are going to be like, all right, I'm making sure that you guys know this is our objective and you need to have that fire to make sure we achieve it. And I don't know. I feel like I'm just doing a bunch of guesswork because at this point, it's just a big conundrum, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, it's really confusing. I don't understand it because it just seems like we constantly get ourselves in this spot like, hey, we have the roster, like we have the guys on paper. And then when we go out on the field, it just doesn't equate to what we expect it's supposed to be. And, like, where does that start? Does it start with the players? Does it start with the tactics? Is it the coaches? Is it higher up than that? Like I really don't
Mhm.
know. And I don't think the answer is spending a lot of money every time. Like I don't think that's
Right.
the answer.
Right.
And I don't think you can rely on record transfers from the women's side each time to fund the men's side because you know we're looking at a reality where the women's season isn't guaranteed, and um so and if we have to sell our women's players, then we're not going to have talented women's players to sell for men's players. Like there's just a whole cycle to it. Like just spending the money is like making a bigger problem for us. Like if we always have to get rid of people and sign Aaron Malloy to a record, deal and sign Philip Goodrum, like we just can't keep doing it and firing the coach and, over and over and over again.
Yeah. And like
Mhm.
one of the big problems with the men's side too is simply the fact that like we want to have these young players we develop and that we can sell on, but we don't ever really make anything of it. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of the players in the past that would qualify as like your young players that maybe you sell on and get something from them, we've just shipped off to other places and let their contract expire. You know what I mean? Like players like Kimball
Mhm.
Jackson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He kind of became a mainstay for Chattanooga there for a while, and it's like, but man, what if we had just kind of kept that going?
Development going.
Yes, developed him more, and then we sold him on to another team where he gets even more opportunities. But we didn't do that. We chose to just kind of be like, peace, you know. And so now, like, what we're doing is we're just bringing in these other, players. Like we just signed a young midfielder, right?
Hmm.
Mason Cooch, yeah, and like what's the plan? Is he just going to exist and we say like, hey, he's technically on the roster, but then not really use him? And then at the same time, like, do you have the breathing room to use him? Are you doing good enough as a team that you can get him in there without completely breaking him down or him not being able to make an impact? It's, you start wondering those things because it feels like to make those young players shine and be successful, you already have to have your senior squad experiencing success and setting them up to grow and become a player that other teams are like, oh man, you hear about that young talent that LSC is developing? Like he's out here doing A, B, and C. Can we like get them on the phone and talk about a loan with potential to buy? And like that's what you have to do. And I don't know. I don't know when we're going to get there because it just seems like year after year it's this like check out the squad we're building the monstars and I'm like, oh yeah, we are, like we're getting to everybody. um and then we go out there to actually play and we get bullied. um
And
it
like
I don't know.
sometimes when we're signing those young players, we're not even playing them too.
Yes,
So like,
right.
either they get loaned off or they're just not seeing the light of day, and it's
Yeah.
just like unfair to them. And you know, I don't know like who's doing the like scouting and stuff too, because like last year we had Olney in the building and now he's doing very well in the league, you know. So
Yeah.
like, I, it's just like, and obviously Atez, we can always point to him doing well, and it's like who's doing our scouting and making the decisions to keep shifting the players around, and we're not having success on the field, but then you look around the league and there are guys that, are very successful. And I mean, some of those guys too, like Rendon, like we probably could have we've probably had a chance to get him at some point because of the NoCo situation. He was
Right.
previously with NoCo. They folded.
Yeah.
He clearly didn't have a team. What come to Lexington. You're familiar with them already. Like there's got to be some familiar. Like I just feel like we're not looking at the right people sometimes.
Yeah. It's a lot of like what ifs. And again, it could also be the question of like, are they the right people? But we get here
Yeah,
and we just don't use them or include them the right way. And then all of a sudden the plan falls apart. And whoever's scouting maybe sees something that doesn't translate whenever they're here and they're with the team and with the coaches. And you just start spinning your wheels. But at the same time, like that's where you have to have those like strong relationships and understandings of like scouts working with coaches and coaches working with scouts. And then when they get there, like, here's our team identity, here's our team culture, here's clearly where you fit into this. Here's our expectations for how you handle yourself whenever you're putting on the badge. Like it has to be all of the above. And I'm sure the men's players care, but I'm a billion% sure the women's players care. And I just need us to have
Mhm.
a men's team where everybody knows unequivocally that they are here playing for the city and they're playing for the fans. And like, it's not just like a sound bite for a clip for the club to put out where they're just like, Lexington, we want to win for you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's more than those moments. Like, you just feel it from the women, right? You just feel it. Like, whenever they're like coming through and high fiving the supporters in the supporters section, and the way that like they light up when they win for us, and like they're freaking out on the field whenever they get those wins. And the men do that too, sure. But we just, I don't know. Maybe there's another gear there. Maybe there's another gear, and maybe that's just what's missing. Because I just always feel like when you have like a team that's losing, of course it could be personnel, of course it could be tactics, absolutely, But I feel like there's so much to be said for the right mindset, the right culture, the right vibes. That's that stuff that carries teams. Like if you got everybody believing and on board and they're all like, whatever role I'm playing that role because I want us to be a successful squad. If you get 95% of your team to buy into that, I feel like you're just in a whole new realm than if it's just like, we're all kind of disjointed on the mental side of like where we stand and what we're playing for. And this is pure conjecture, right? I'm not in those rooms. I do know what I feel vibe wise from the women's team. And some people's experiences might be 1,000,000% different. They might be listening around and being like, you're crazy. Like I've talked to the men's players and they're like psyched when they do great for the city. And I hope that that's the case because we're boiling it down to that point of like, what is wrong? What is wrong? Why are we staring down at this table and thinking, man, we might just live in this no playoff zone for a majority of the season. Because I just don't want it to be like last season. I don't want it to be like last season where, you could tell Boss lost the locker room and you
Mhm.
could
yeah,
tell that we were going to be scrounging for scraps when it came time to decide who's going to be in the playoffs. I don't want to scrounge for scraps. I don't want to feel like we're going through the motions as a team, and I don't want us to get to that point. So I just feel like there's a short runway that even though it's a long season, there's a short runway before you start running into that type of stuff that can plague the rest of your season and could just mentally throw off the whole squad. even professionally, right? And who knows, maybe that frustration, maybe that's what's going into like these players making these decisions and getting red cards. We don't know because what other reason do you have to clock somebody 3 minutes in? And I guess there are situations, but I just find it hard to believe that things are that chippy 3 minutes in that, that's your reaction. And so maybe that speaks to something going on in the grander realm of the team. But all we can do is keep supporting the men, you know. Um, right now, obviously everybody's eyes should be on this championship this weekend. They should be. Because frankly, like I'll just say it, the men's game is secondary.
Mm-hmm.
1,000%.
Not because we don't care about them, but I mean, you'd be crazy to be upset at anybody for saying like, no, my focus is on winning a trophy right now, which is absolutely within reach. But I really do. I hope that after we're done celebrating, I get a chance to watch the men play, and I hope that they go out there and they show El Paso what's up, and bring me back a signed shirt from Danny Rojas. That'll make me feel good. But I mean, I do believe in the squad. I do think they can do it. I do think that, like you said, Jessica, we've all had like kind of tunnel vision on the women's squad because we're nearing the end of the season and there's so many things to play for at this moment. Whereas like for the men's side, it's just kind of like we're playing for any sort of points, please. In any sort of points, because I want them to be successful. I don't want everybody to be shipped off at the end of the season and we start fresh and we go through this whole song and dance of like, we got new coaches and we bought a bunch of new players and we're going to win this time. And I'm going to have to be like, no, we aren't, because we've done that the last 3 times. And the last 3 times we end up in 9th. And again, we've said this before too. The successful teams in the league have these mainstay players that are totems. They are totems of the culture of the club. They are shining beacons for all other players that join those teams to be like, that's who we got to be for this club. That's what it means to wear this badge. And that's what it means to represent these fans. And we have to get there. We have to get there. And I think we got some players on this squad that could be those people for us. And maybe are currently those people, but I want them to be like those people in the long run. That it's like when you come to Lexington, that A, B, and C are in that locker room telling you, here's what you can expect while you're here, and here's why you're going to play hard while you're here. Because we deserve it, like we've gone through some stuff as a club, and we need those dubs from the men's side. And I don't want us to lose Coach Mack. I think he's a great coach. I don't want him getting ousted because he was a big part of our women's success. And it would be a shame if, just because the men's side is struggling right now that he's feeling any sort of heat, but I guess you got to feel heat to make changes. And I'm sure he'll make some changes that will get us there somehow, some way. The next episode of Ted Lasso. That's what it'll be. All right. Final thoughts, you all?
No.
Just
nothing.
Ready to watch the women kick butt. And
that's my final thought.
Hope my body can handle it, because my heart rate during the Dallas game was so high. It was insane.
Yeah.
It was consistently like up.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. That whole time I was like, man, glad I took blood pressure medicine today. It was hype. I think we got this though. That's where I'm at. That's where my eyes are. All focus on this women's match on Saturday. And like, if you are somebody that got a hold of those free tickets, make sure they get used somehow, some way. Please don't let them just sit in your SeatGeek account. I can't speak today. Make sure that they are sent to people that will show up. Beg them, bribe them. You can let them know that Jess keeps Wendy's burgers in her pockets of her jacket.
Side note, I had a listener approach me and tell me that they have snuck in food before too. So
we're not
Whoa,
condoning
whoa.
this. We're not condoning this. Jess.
Criminals.
I'm just saying, I'm not the only one.
Jeez.
Criminal
Look, me and
behavior.
Dylan were not a part of this, just for the record. We didn't know about any of this.
We do. It was just the one time.
When Jess brought it up, she threatened us both. She said, "You tell anybody, and then you're gonna have to go somewhere where they don't have soccer. I don't know where we would not have soccer. Who knows? Antarctica." No, but yeah, I just hope everybody gets those tickets in hands. I've got a bunch. I'm making sure that they make them to people, or make their way to people's hands, get them in those stadiums. Even if you didn't get those free ones, remember too, like they're like $6.
They're
They're like
so
$6.
affordable. Oh my gosh.
It's cheaper than
Yeah.
gas these days.
It's cheaper than hot dogs at the stadium. You
That's
get in
true.
cheaper
You
than
can
hot
get a
dogs at the
ticket
stadium.
for cheaper than a hot dog. Although I will say, during the game on Saturday, they had hot dogs 2 for $1 during this
Oh.
past game. So
And we got $1.50 beer night.
it was, but that was in the second half. So I wonder if maybe they were like, if they
We
were
got to get rid
I
of
don't
these.
know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Could be. But we got $1.50 beer night for the women's final as well. So that's got to be a draw. Like, just a lot of things are happening that pretty much make it to where there's no excuse, right? People got to come out, beg people to come, hand them tickets, say if they don't show up, you're not going to be their friend anymore, and or disown them if they're a family member, whatever you have to do, right? We all have to make those moves. So do what you can, because these women deserve all of our support. And like, I want it to be whenever they present that trophy to them, that we just have 7,000 people screaming, losing their mind, screaming, crying, throwing up, all the stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see everybody losing their mind, and I want it to just be electric in there.
Boogie woogie.
Yeah, boogie
Nice.
woogie woogie. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how many people show up. I'm hoping 1 million or a $1,000,000. Is that a number?
Mhm.
Maybe. Could be. I wonder how many Carolina people will travel, because it's really not that far.
Yeah. I did see on either their post maybe, or on the Gamebridge Super League post on the final details of some Carolina fans saying like, "Hey, let's go," so
Cool. All right, it's gonna be a fun
maybe.
time. Yeah, never know. All right, then, be at the game, or else you'll make us sad. We'll send you pictures of Dylan crying if you don't show up.
From joy.
Don't ask how we got your number to send the pictures. Just know it's gonna happen. It's all good.
It'll just be like airdropped to you.
Yep. 100%. All right, then. That's it. Show up Saturday. You know what it is. Come on, you Greens.